Hello there, Site42 staff. Good to see you. Glad you could make it. I'm just perusing the database right now. In case you didn't read the title coming in, we are currently waiting for the next test to begin. It's currently being set up. I am currently in the Acoustics laboratory. There is soon going to be a test with a certain anomaly I can't say very much about due to mimetic forces, so what I will just say is that since speaking of certain anomalies causes the effects of said certain anomalies to come into being, I can't tell you what we're testing, except that you can't describe anomalies of a certain type in a way that would allow that to happen. You get me. I know. You're trained Foundation staff. You don't need me to explain this to you. Oh, Charlie 10 Pro is here. Thank you for our first dono to the stream. Make sure to grab yourself some coffee cake on your way past the commissary. If Master Chief was an SCP, how would they contain this giant? You know, I've done a similar video on the channel regarding another similar super soldier by the name of Doom Guy, or the Doomslayer. Although that video is a little old, I'm looking to expand it with more recent research. But it's a good starting point if you want to go check out the Doomslayer is not an SCP, but if it were video. For all of you who are mentioning an anomaly in the 2000s, that is not the anomaly I'm speaking of this time. For once, it's not that one. It's a different one we can't talk about because it would cause it to iterate in a way that would cause me and you great physical harm. And so, yes, there are many of them, not just that one. The one I'm talking about is in the 3000s, but I can't say much more than that. Mallory Moore, who's winning in a fight between 173 and 096? To my knowledge in the database, we haven't tested it as just a one-on-one fight, but we did put 096 into a vat of acid for a while to wear it down, and then let 173 snap all its bones. And then we shot it a bunch with machine gun fire as well. This was a decommissioning attempt, not a fair fight, but apparently it worked from what the database says, so I guess that's fine. But I don't think we've done a straight up fight. I still think 173 would win because it doesn't have eyes, so it can't activate 096's wrath state. Scrolling down. Rekra. Sir, can I eat tree? You know, I think a fellow by the name of Matthew Patrick did a video about eating trees, and it was very comprehensive. Perhaps that's the kind of recipe book you're looking for. But if you're talking about 4521, no, because we've already run that test. It didn't work, and we need to maintain enough of the tree to test, so we can't do any more eating of that tree. Asen, will there ever be a tour video? A tour video of Site42? Not likely. The amount of filters we have up to deal with certain aspects. I mean, I could take you around, but to your perception, it would just appear to be a regular house. And, you know, there are houses all over the place. Is the Waffle House an SCP? Well, True Agent, I am pretty sure yes. But there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts there. I mean, we know the whole host thing. That's a whole thing in and of itself. But just the rage state it instates in people who come to the Waffle House, I believe that alone means it's anomalous in some manner. But it's hard to test because the amount of violence that takes place, we put a lot of agents at risk unnecessarily. But we're working on it. Jay Pendragon, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some guava juice on your way past the commissary. Is 343 the Almighty said to be more powerful than the anomalies that are more powerful than the Scarlet King? Is 343 the Almighty that is said to be more powerful than the anomalies that are more powerful than the Scarlet King? I'm not sure you phrased your question 100% cohesively there. Remember, we're a writing fandom, so we're picky about that. But I would say the problem with 343 is we can't test it on anything it doesn't want to be tested on. And so putting it up in matchups against things doesn't always work. Although, if you look at Site 42's Red Division right now, which, remember, that's what we call the YouTube channel. If you look at Site 42 Red Division, just this Tuesday, we dropped an SCP tale called Divine Intervention, in which, no spoilers, but 343 gets got, at least as far as we know. So it's worth giving that a listen. It's a short one. You'll enjoy it, I think. Antarctica. What if you put SCP-500 into 914 on Very Fine? You know, I think we've done something like that. Let me check the database real quick. SCP-914. Testing log. I'm gonna sneeze. Pardon me a moment. Hi, yay. All right, that's experiment log. Oh, sweet Jesus. We're up to 21 pages of this malarkey. Oh, that reminds me of something. Put a pin in that. I need to talk about that in a minute, but first, let me just see if SCP-500 comes up in these logs. Control F, 500. One pill on fine, and it created 427. Did we do it a second time? No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no. We did a lot of tests with 500 milliliters of 999. All right. It doesn't seem like we've done Very Fine. 427 ended up being the healing amulet that turns you into a flesh creature. So perhaps we didn't want to do Very Fine after that. I mean, that tracks for us. All right, I'll call that an answer for now. Okay, so I'm going to let you in on something that I've been looking into weirdly, that I'm not sure if it's a problem or it's not a problem. It's just confusing. And I want to make a short video of it later. So maybe I'll just give this to you guys. You can tell me what you think, and I'll go down some research rabbit holes to get a final answer. But what I discovered the other week is if you're ever on the app formerly known as Twitter, the SCP community was always rather prominent on there. A lot of SCP authors chit-chat back and forth, fans make memes, stuff like that. And so even while it's gone a dark path, we're still holding out in our little Foundation bunker, trying to play it chill. Now, what had happened was some hater, there's always haters who are like, oh, SCP is so woke now, and they're lazy haters. They decided to get mad that SCP Explained, the YouTube channel with wonderful voice actor Hunter, they did a video about 9 months ago about SCP-914, and it was a test where they put some fursuits in 914 on Very Fine, and they came alive, and they latched onto people, and they took over the world or something like that. And the thumbnail was, of course, clickbaity, because that's what you got to do on YouTube, so they put a sexy furry on there. And this chud was like, oh no, there are sexy furries in SCP. SCP is bad now, as if that's what the majority of SCP is now, because they're silly. But on top of that, I was just curious, okay, did SCP Explained write this test, the fursuit 914 test, originally? Or is that one of the 914 tests? Because as I told you, there's 21 pages of 914 tests. It's impossible to go through all this thing quickly. So I just thought, hey, what if that's actually in there? That would be funny. I'll go look it up. And I couldn't find SCP Fursuit 914 happening. And so my next thought was, okay, well, the video mentions a very specific SCP researcher, Dr. Gottlieb. And so I thought, okay, what if I look up SCP Dr. Gottlieb? Will that get me the image on the SCP Wiki of this whole fursuit test. And it didn't. But what it did get me is that let me show you this, because I can pull this up on my screen here. Gottlieb. Dr. Gottlieb. No. Videos. Gottlieb 914 maybe? All right, let me just pull this up from my Discord messages because I sent this to somebody asking questions. What I found was that this video by SCP Explained was re-uploaded to a Dr. Bob alternate language channel. So I don't know what language it was in because I am a heathen American who only speaks English, but pulling it up, let's open that in a browser. Let's open that in a browser. Let's go over here to the screen so it's nice and big. I'll pull you guys off the tripod for now. So, this is SCP Explains Evil SCP-914 Furry Transformations More Terrifying Than SCP-173. So, as you can see, you've got your fursuiter, furry apocalypse, horny clickbait thumbnail. We're not surprised by that. But if you go over to this Dr. Bob e la Fondazione, Transformazioni Pelos Malvagi di SCP-914 più spaventose di SCP-173, same thumbnail. What is this? Are Dr. Bob and SCP Explained related? Is Dr. Bob stealing from SCP Explained? Is this foreign language channel officially a Dr. Bob channel, or is it a ripoff? What's happening here? I'm so confused as to why this is happening. I'm just interested at this point. Are SCP Explained and Dr. Bob in the same family? Is Dr. Bob stealing from Explained? Or is this a fake Dr. Bob channel? I just want to know. I just want to know. I just want to talk to him. Now, I have not talked to the SCP Explained team, although I have chatted with Hunter before. But Hunter, I don't think, can really get me to talk with the team. And I've never been able to reach out to anybody on the Dr. Bob side. I have no idea how to even get in contact with them. So, this is just interesting. Interesting. That's all I've got to say. I want to know more. I'm still working on a deep dive, but here is your preview into what's driving me insane right now. Pendragon, thank you again for your donation. What does the Foundation think would happen if Abel were to interact with Cain and Abel were to interact for what might be the second time? So here's the deal. I believe we don't put them together on purpose. Let me double check that on the 073 and the 076 documents. 073. I have to learn how to type. SCP, boom. And then SCP-076. I want the real one, not the offshoots. I want the real one. All right. Related to Cain. 076 doesn't seem to mention Cain at all, does it? Cain. No matches. Mobile Task Force Omega-7. Proceed. Control F, Cain. No matches. 073? Does it say anything about 073? No. Change it. 073. There it is. Boom. One of two. Sent it with symbol from 073. Upon sight of this, 076-2 became highly enraged, killing several of the researchers before its kill switch could be activated. When revived and questioned about this, 076-2 responded aggressively, and that line of questioning was immediately dropped. It is recommended that anything pertaining to 073 never be brought to the attention of 076-2, and that the two are never in the same facility. That's what I thought. We're not testing them together, but, of course, that's not always 100% held to, because if I check the SCP Series 1 Tales Edition and go down to 073 and 076, all right, well, there's a whole lot of tales for both of those characters. They're very old school SCP, and they were very popular. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 tales for Cain. And Abel has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, at least 30. So if you're interested in seeing if they interact, I suggest going to the SCP Series 1 page listing, going to the Tales edition, and then reading through those tales, because I'm not going to do that the whole time. That would take forever. But long story short, if it has happened, that's where you can find out what happened. Antarctica, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some ice chips on your way past the commissary. What if we put everything that we don't want into SCP-120 when its color is black? What does SCP-120 do? That's not one I'm familiar with. Teleporting paddling pool. Channels paddling pool. Teleporting. Subdue gray glow when dialed into this destination. Brown glow, yellow glow, white glow, white glow, Control F, BLACK. Deep black cover, located on the moon. Well, then to answer your question, all of those SCPs would be left on the moon uncontained. So that would not be a great idea. Not unless we build our next lunar base next to that location, and therefore we contain things that we don't want on Earth contained on the moon. That would be a way to do it, but we got to be sure of that. That's a highly, highly costly endeavor. Amber, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some almond milk at the commissary. Actually thought of a question I've never seen. If we cut 999 exactly in half, would we get 2 smaller goo boys? Duplicates of SCP-999 tests. So we can cut it in half. It comes together. Playful behavior. Dog-like. Let me go back to the tails again, because that will allow me to jump down to 999. 999 only has 5 tails here. That seems a little low. Something tells me they're not all being included. All right, so my imagination, since this isn't a hypothesis that apparently we've tested, because the 999 that's larger is always the one that's actually SCP-999, and then you combine them together to make the full one again. If you could, to the micro atom, cut them in perfect half, my guess, unfortunately, is that it's still going to be just one or the other, but it'll be left of chance, because we have not been able to have duplicates of 9992 this time. In fact, we've had more luck with SCP-173 duplicating, much to my chagrin. Blew up my whole site. Zerdrin, thank you for being a member as always. Good to see you. I have beef with the shorts format. I can't see more than 3 lines of chat, and I have to scroll to keep up. Yes, I understand that from this perspective as well. Matt, thank you for your donation. Please grab yourself some Malamars on your way past the commissary. Can you please talk about the fire suppression department? Okay, I can take a quick look. Fire suppression isn't a facet of the Foundation that I'm very familiar with. I know that it's got a lot of people who talk about it. I've seen the name before a lot. And so let me quickly look at the hub for it. Fire Suppression Department Hub. Oh, this is the, yeah, okay, this is the hub, good. So let me just read this opening note. Hello and welcome to your new Fire Suppression Department position. Now you may be asking yourself, what does this new position entail? And let me tell you, it's very simple. We put out fires. Not regular fire, not physical fires, no. We leave that up to the Foundation Fire Rescue Department. We deal in metaphorical fires. For example, let's say a high-ranking member of the Foundation is offered a job by the Global Occult Coalition. This is not only a breach of contract on their behalf, but also a serious fire risk for us. After all, what's stopping them from leaving and spilling all our secrets to them? We wouldn't want that to happen now, would we? No, sir. But what can we do to stop said fire from starting? I'm glad you asked. We simply remind them of why they chose to be employed with the Foundation in the first place. Everyone's got a family, don't they? We can use them as an example. No one wants any ill to befall their family. Their protection is part of what the Foundation offers. We cannot guarantee the safety of the family of someone who has impulsively terminated their employment. That's not to say we will harm them, heavens no. But if something were to happen to them and we weren't be able to respond to them, that would certainly be a tragedy now, wouldn't it? After all, the Foundation only has so many mobile task forces, and it cannot afford to stretch them so thin as to protect the family of an employee who is considering jumping ship. What about an employee who smokes? Well, we would simply remind them of the excellent healthcare options the Foundation provides. The damage they are doing to their cardiovascular system is irreparable and only brought on by themselves, unfortunately. They will need our superior healthcare options in order to survive the trials and tribulations of the cancer they are inevitably bringing upon themselves. It's not our fault they smoke. We are simply trying our best to care for them. But what about those pesky edge cases? The real toughies. That is where you, my dear problem solvers, come in. It'll be your job to put out the fires these individuals can potentially cause in trying to leave. Think of it as designing special containment procedures for your co-workers. You will have to do whatever it takes to keep them in line and keep them within the Foundation. Because if one person leaves, more are sure to follow. Fire spreads quickly, and we don't want fires in the Foundation. It'll be your job to keep them quiet and keep them content. Because at the end of the day, we're all a family here at the Foundation. A big, happy family. And no one leaves our family. Well, that's quite a mission statement. I now know why I don't know about the Fire Suppression Department myself, because I do not want to leave the Foundation. I would never be disloyal. Therefore, I'm a model Foundation employee and I do not need a visit from the Fire Suppression Department in any way. YouTube chat slowed down. I just saw a question I wanted to check on, and it's gone. Havoc, thank you for your first dono of today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a hoagie on your way past the commissary. What do you think of the people becoming Pokemon SCP? What? What? People are becoming Pokemon? Or Pokemon SCP? What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Is that happening? I mean, I know the whole Pal World situation where you're allowed to grab people, and I guess that's similar to like catching a Pokemon, I don't know. Don't worry, zero alcohol. We're not drinking on the job. I just like the bitter in the bubbles. Blixer, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself a Blintz on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, not Mr. Sherman, thank you. Take an SCP-207, you deserve one. I hope this isn't some sort of murder attempt. Let me make sure 207 is safe. Always gotta be careful. That's a bottle of Coke. What does it do to you? Removes the need for rest. Motor reaction and psychological functions. I like that. Increase in linear and progression. 50% increase measured every 6 hours. And just the subject to think, react, and move faster. I'd enjoy that. Does not alter the body, so therefore, no subjects have lasted more than 48 hours due to testing. Yes, I was afraid of that. That's a nice prank you got there, but I'm not falling for it. Always check ahead of time, people. All right. SCP-5254, gotta catch them all? Is that what you're talking about, Havoc? 5254, you say? Oh. Foundation agents, local authorities, limit the sale of memorabilia, costumes, and novelty items during events that feature fictional characters belonging to the Pokemon Company. Anomalous transformation of a humanoid or object into one of 1,025 fictional creatures designed by the Pokemon Company. The transformation event occurs upon prolonged, extensive adornment of fashion accessories and other pieces of clothing that specifically resemble a creature's anatomy. Transformation is fatal to most organic life forms. Rate of transformation is correlated to how closely the human subject resembles the original creature's design. Interesting. I'm sorry, what do you mean make sure your Nintendo account is secure? Why am I getting warnings from Nintendo while I'm talking about this anomaly? I'm not joking. That just happened. Steve, I need you to look at the site web firewall. I think Nintendo might be onto us. Oh, God. Well, I already didn't like the anomaly because it's killing people, but now I'm really worried for our safety. That's my answer for you, Havoc. Oh, my God. Unknown Sierra, thank you for your first donation in today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Sierra Mist on your way past the commissary. I'm back. Also, I took the files regarding the tree in order to try and, I quote, as it's on the report, beat Old Man Larry with them. You're going to beat Old Man Larry with the documentation for SCP-4521, which is a very thin binder. And I don't know if you mean physically beat or like defeat, as in like win against. But either way, I don't think that documentation is going to help you. Voctor GT, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a very fine pizza on your way past the commissary. Yo, do you watch anime? Yes, I do partake in the anime once in a blue moon. I'm currently, I guess it doesn't count, but Common Side Effects is an American-esque anime that I just finished the season finale last night. Weird show, enjoying it. What was the last show I watched? Don to Don, very fun, very weird. You gotta be knowledgeable about how weird anime is, especially in the first episode. It gets real weird real fast, but overall, good story, good characters. Anything else I was watching anime-wise? Oh yes, I'm trying to catch up on JJK. It's just so long, and I'm not really interested in the early stuff, but I hear so much about the Shibuya area. So that is where I'm trying to get there so I can see what the fuss is about. We'll see how it goes. Oh yes, and my favorites are Ouran High School Host Club, because it's just charmingly funny. Gurren Lagann, hell yes every time. Do I have any other anime favorites that I'm going to list right now? No, those are the big two. What do you think of Dr. Bob? Havoc! I assume you're just joining the stream, so you missed the Dr. Bob confusion arc from about 10 minutes ago. Yes, we do not know if an Italian foreign language version of Dr. Bob on YouTube is stealing videos from SCP Explained. I mean, we do know that it has re-uploaded the video. The question is just, is it allowed by SCP Explained for the Dr. Bob channel to be doing this? Or is Dr. Bob stealing? Or is it not really Dr. Bob? Is it a fake Dr. Bob stealing from SCP Explained? It's a whole thing. And so I'm very interested. I'm going to find out more about that, but you can go back in the stream to hear me talk about that for a couple minutes. It'll be easy to find when you scrub, because I actually put the pictures of the channels there. So you can see the pictures of the two channels with the same video. Hunter Phil, thank you for your first donation to the stream today. Make sure to grab yourself a nice bottle of Heinz ketchup on your way past the commissary. This just in, we have the Serpent's Hand have just got the tree to talk, which is more than USCP folks have accomplished from Serpent's Hand Double Agent. I severely doubt that you hippies have done anything of the sort. Oh, we want everyone to know about anomalies. We don't want to harm them. Human rights are our favorite. I doubt you succeeded. Don't you lie to me. J. Pendragon. The only thing that the Foundation fears more than the Scarlet King are Japanese copyright lawyers. Their ninjas are insane, okay? We all know what Nintendo is capable of. And we all know because we all talk in hushed verbiage because we're all worried about it. So, yes, them popping up in my stream is upsetting, to say the least. Steve is working on it. Quentin Fisher, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some fish fingers and custard on your way past the commissary. What happens if you shine a flashlight on your shadow when 272 is on the shadow? 272, huh? An old iron nail. Ah, yes, so you can nail things to shadows. Nature, shadow, person will not be able to remove the nail by any means. They are limited in movements to keep the shadow cast on the nail. The nail, however, may be removed by conventional means by anyone else, although those requested do a reported to mild aversion citing claims that it feels fair. Object discovered, okay, midday sun. Once around 2/3 subject cannot continue, moves away. Establish effects at night, nail was dropped. Complies showing no adverse effects. Subject attempts to escape and is terminated. Lighting changes. Nail dropped as above. Subject told to walk in a straight line away from the nail. Object embeds. Subject shows no adverse effects. Sunrise occurs. Subject is data expunged. Subject's torso recovered 106 meters from the object, showing signs of road rash and severe blunt trauma. 222, establish lighting requirements. Lighting requirements. Multiple subjects held. Selection mechanism for which one's held. Destructibility. Rapid lighting shifts. Yep, okay, so if the shadow moves, you're dragged by it. And when, during that torso problem test, interesting. Stadio lighting, long-term containment. All right, so my guess it's going to be very similar to the torso test. You move the shadow rapidly, and then you are messed up big show. That is my best hypothesis based on the documentation. Unknown Sierra again, thank you again. I'll have you know, Dr. Sherman, screeching like an insane person and throwing files at the SCP can work. It makes them too confused and prefer other people. You know, I prefer the Foundation Fitness Initiative to how we get past anomalies and away from them, but screaming and throwing a fit, if it works, it works. I mean, not every SCP is immune to that. I would have thought 106 would not be immune to it, but hey, maybe. Voctor, thank you again. There's a man named Butterball Berry in my house. What do I do? The oven. Butterball turkeys go in the oven. That's how you protect yourself. Oh, violence is not the answer, Dr. Sherman. Baby Froggy, thank you for your first donation to the Site 42 cause. Grab yourself some croissant on your way past the commissary. I'd say frog legs, but that might be cannibalism, and we frown upon that when possible. Dr. Sherman, I go to IKEA and try to get stuck in SCP-3008, but it never happens. Tips to increase chances. Willing to be D-class and help with research. So, there's only one IKEA that is the entrance to SCP-3008. It's not just any IKEA that might transport you. It is one singular IKEA on our Earth that goes in there. And we've got it locked down so people can't get in by accident. Now, that being said, there are other universes with their own IKEAs, and you can get to those other universes from the infinite IKEA. So, while you can only get into it in one direction here, you can get to the other dimensions through the other doors. Meanwhile, I guess if you submit your request to work on 3008 and do an exploratory mission, then your supervisor will have to look at and approve that. So put in your request and we'll see how it goes. Hunter Phil, thank you again. We've also stolen SCP-420-J and left a picture of Shy Guy in its place. Yet another victory for the Serpent's Hand. By the way, why is a trail of orange slime going from the 420-J containment Serpent's Hand? So, obviously, everybody is allowed to request treatment with 420-J. And even 999, as happy as the little guy is, can use to relax once in a while. We don't begrudge that. In fact, it's pretty funny when it happens. As for the stealing it, no, we've got plenty stored away. We're just not going to tell you where it is because people are always trying to steal it and hide some at their desk, and that's not allowed. The picture of 096, though, we'll get rid of that, I guess. Thanks for the warning. Mobile Task Force Commander Main Delta 14, thank you for your first dono to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some lobster rolls on your way past the commissary. I just got done dealing with 224-1. That was fun. 224-1. What are you dealing with today? Grandfather Clock. Grandfather Clock. Hands don't move with any known consistency. Chime anomalous acoustic signature. Originally found. Where's the -1 at? 224 doesn't have -1s. Did you discover something that we don't know about? In terms of helping acquire, age 30s, iteration, no, volunteered. Temporal acceleration, people and objects of the range of the cell begin to age. So, I mean, did you just capture someone who is rapidly aging due to that? Is that what we're calling a -1 today? I don't know, but I guess congratulations on your mission, whatever it was. Fire Red Ninja, thanks for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Flamin' Hot Cheetos on your way past the commissary. Hey, Dr. Sherman, what do you think SCP against Weeping Angels from Doctor Who? They can only move when looking at them fast, blink dead, indestructible. So, we're already very well trained at dealing with SCP-173. Same deal, especially because without the whole blood and feces concoction that 173 drops, we can just lock a Weeping Angel in a box and call it done. And so they're not going to pound their way out the doors. They'll try, but if we get a strong enough container, they're locked in. So easier. Although they will die if they don't feed, so we will have to send D-Class in there once in a while to keep them fed. So that's the frustration there. It's a trade-off. All right. Hello, Mr. Nice Live Guy. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some nice cream on your way past the commissary. Is there a way where we can use 682's adaptation against itself? So far, we only saw him adapt to things one at a time. Like if we do extreme heat, then extreme cold, then freeze him, boil him in lava, but all at once, you know. So the problem is the expense at setting up such a large-scale test that can rapidly change temperatures at such a speed. And the problem is that 682 is already adapted to so many things. That's the reason we won't use a nuclear bomb, because that's our trump card in case. If it adapts to the nuclear bomb, we have nothing left. So in the case where, I mean, it's already adaptable to cold and heat, that's just standard procedure. So, in fact, one of my biggest things is I don't know how it hasn't adapted to the acid yet. You would think, I mean, is it dumb? Is 682 stupid? That, I don't understand that, but, you know, I just work here. God's Sinner, thank you for your donation. This is the first time I think I've seen you in the chat, so welcome. Thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some, let's say, some golden grams on your way past the commissary. Watching you in Volgan a lot lately. Oh, Volgan, Dr. Miller. Very good friend of the channel. Saw a story about funny anchors falling on a ship. Was running if you know more stories like that where the insta-win isn't working or even making it worse. From Kara. Thank you, Kara. More stories where the insta-win isn't working. Saw a story about the funny anchors failing on a ship. Oh, the reality anchors. So, I do not know any stories of reality anchors failing off the top of my head. But what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to the tags And I'm going to look for Scranton Reality Anchor first. Scarlet, Science, SCP, SCP Art, Sculpture, SNC Plastics, Scra, T, R, A, B, C, D, T, U, V, W. Okay, U is after R. Sometimes we're all smart working here at the Foundation, but we still take a minute sometimes. All right, so what if I check Reality Anchor? Go back to the R's. Reality Bending, Rat's Nest, nope. All right, it looks like we don't have a tag for Scranton Reality Anchors, unfortunately. Scranton Reality SCP. So what I would do is, for the best way to find an answer to your question, I would use Google in this case. I would use their site search, so you can specifically search the SCP Wikidot database, and I would search for Scranton Reality Anchors, and then I would just read those stories and see if I can find any that fail, because that's the best way I can think to do it at now. Yeah, there are a bunch of articles that contain it. However, I do not know of any where it's a plot point that they fail. Good luck on your search, though, and thanks for watching as always, as well as your donation. Cry Your Fear, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some crazy bread on your way past the commissary. How would the Foundation and similar organizations deal with the Combine from the Half-Life series? So, in that case, you're looking at alien invasion SCPs. And so just like we were talking about with the tags a second ago, let me go back to that. Tags, 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 tags. Let me see if there's an alien tag. What you do is you go to the tag cloud. Let me show you this, since I can show you this in the database real quick. And so this will be your tool for all future SCP database diving. So what you do is you pick any SCP, let's say 1409, and you go to the bottom of the document, and you'll see under licensing and citation all of these tags. And these tags are put on by the wiki staff to note what the story's about. So let's say I wanted to look at SCPs that are media. Then it would give me this list of all media SCPs. Wow, we have a lot of media SCPs, geez. But then at the bottom of that is the tag cloud. And it's a list of every tag available on the wiki. And so in this case, I'm going to look for aliens. And if I can't, I'll find like extraterrestrial or something. ABCs of Death, Abel, Abnormalities, Absurdism, Agent, Alive, Alex Silva. All right, so no alien. What about extraterrestrial? Fire suppression, extraterrestrial. There is an extraterrestrial tag, so you can look at aliens there. And you're going to see, I mean, Black Mesa is a lot like the Foundation on its own, so is Aperture Science. So you're really looking at an SCP-like situation from the get-go. And of course, Gordon Freeman, a trained professional, is our hero protagonist of the Tale series in that case. So honestly, it wouldn't go super different. I mean, except for the fact that I would like to say we're more competent than Black Mesa, although depending on the canon you read, that's not always true. Going to make sure I don't miss any donos real quick. Oh, I am missing a bunch. All right, I'm going back. I answered that one. I just didn't mark it. Read 682's test file to see 682 and 096. Yes, Jack Owen. We actually discussed this in one of the Shower Thoughts videos recently. I think it was responding to your Shower Thoughts number 1. And so it wasn't SCP Wyatt's Shower Thoughts. It was me responding to comments. And we discussed that that's in there, and that my hypothesis was right, that SCP-682 did end up outlasting 096. Antarctica again, thank you. What happens when 012 is finished? We don't know because we can't get it finished. We know that already it sounds like bad music. It's not really well put together, but there's probably some ritual or something, and maybe if you check the tales, you'll find out what the finish is like. I'm sure someone's written a tale about that. What about bodies in the water when day breaks? Birdie, make sure to grab yourself a Cornish game hen on the way past the commissary. Thank you for your dono. So the bodies in the water are anomalous. They're not just regular bodies. I am based on some of the lore, I believe them to be more like mimetic entities than flesh and blood. So I'm not sure they would be affected because sunlight would go through them rather than affect them. That's just my loose guess. SCP Site 16 in the chat. Good to see you. Thank you for your dono. Make sure you stop by the commissary, grab whatever you need for over at Site 16. What do we do when we have 10 SCPs, no nuking out? Okay, well, you're going to need... I assume you need me to send a security force your way. We're having a quiet day here, keep your fingers crossed, so I'll make sure to send Site 42 security your way to reinforce you. And Steve, put a call out to the overseers, see if they have anybody near Site 16 to help out. It doesn't matter, even the mole rats would be fine. Your site's underground, right? Yeah, they'd be great for that. Jack Owen, thank you for your dono. Grab yourself some Jollibees on your way past the commissary. Oh, yes, I answered that one already. Commander Main Delta 244-1, sorry. Ah, I see. Let me get your correction there. Yeah, I was quite confused, but that happens. There's so many SCPs in the database, you never know what's going to happen. Ice Fog Jar. Tunisian-style earthenware jar. Inside of 244-1 always has an internal temperature of negative 37 degrees Celsius and 125 humidity. You were dealing with a 244-1? But 244-1 is the jar. I mean, I guess, did you find another one or did one get taken? Uncapped. Ice vapor. I believe then... Oh, wait. Multiple instances of 244-2. Heat sources are invariably killed by the flash freezing. Officially large big cloud area, there may be multiple versions. It grows in it. Attracted to the source of heat energy. Oh, okay. So you're not talking about -1, you're talking about -2, which are the fog monsters of the ice fog jar. Achieve locomotion not known, far colder surrounding environment, motionless unless there's a heat source. Well, there may be multiple instances. They will not attempt to consume heat sources with a temporal equal greater than 600 Celsius. Accurately move away. So, I think the first thing you want to do is if you survive, you should just get to a warming center quickly. Make sure you don't get hypothermia. I think that's your first move. Thank you for your service and congratulations on surviving such an encounter. It doesn't seem like it'd be easy. Pendragon, how would a Weeping Angel do against Peanut? So, I believe that in a fight between Weeping Angels versus Peanut, first, before I hypothesize, let me see if this has been done. I don't know if you guys know about this, but we had a crossover contest where SCP Wiki authors did crossovers with like SCP and Pokemon, or SCP and something. It's called I think it's called the Crack Fiction Contest. SCP Crack Fiction Contest. Crack Fiction Contest. Or no, that's not a crossover con. Crack Fiction is a different thing. Too many C words. Too many C words. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Oh wait, these are crossovers. Are they? No, Crack Fiction is not crossover con. Crossover con is different. Not Crack Fiction. Crossover. Contest. Project Crossover. Project Crossover. That's what we're talking about. In Project Crossover, there was a Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I don't know what that is. Lingering Lark of Leviathan Square. That sounds like a Lovecraftian thing. Dial S for SCP. That's funny. Cart Can Cart. I don't know what that is. Issue 100. Self-insert. Kunststoff Strand. Knee Deep in the Keter. I like that, even if I said Keter wrong to make it happen, because it's supposed to be Keter. Case of the Missing Hand. SCP Foundation, the movie 2. Electric Boogaloo. Okay, but this is not... There's some of the SCPs here that I don't remember not seeing. Contest? No, that's a joke. Okay, I don't remember where the crossover con Oh, well, here's a list of all the contests. That works. Do. Crack fiction, D class, contest, 10 years. Social media art contest, doomsday contest, cliche con, collaboration con, 5K, exquisite corpse, canon renaissance, Cupid contest, jam con, meme con, nightmare fest, apartment con, 7000 con, Halloween con, cold post con, rom con, goblin con, remix con, wrath con, which I think was the ultra kill contest. Okay, I can't find it, unfortunately. What was the question? Weeping Angel versus Peanut, that's where this all started. So, I believe that 173 is a statue. It's made of rebar, it's made of concrete, it doesn't have life signs, except for the poop and the blood. But that's weird and not its own, I guess. But we know that the Weeping Angels have to eat, but they eat time energy, and they only chase humans. They don't normally eat other things, do they? So, although I guess 173 is alive in that it travels through time, which means technically it would have time energy, so it could be eaten. That's a confusing one. If 173 can be time eaten by the Weeping Angels, then they win. If 173 can't be time eaten, then 173 outlasts the Weeping Angel, and the Weeping Angel dies of starvation. That's my guess. The Informed Brit, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some, let's say, some corned beef and cabbage. No, that's not right for you. I'm going to send you over to, just go to the pub, grab a pint. How do you deal with an anomaly that instantaneously teleports anywhere in the world at will? So you're basically just talking about SCP-507, the reluctant dimension hopper. Except, 507 travels between dimensions, while the other anomalies, you're saying around the world. Now, the trick of it is that, number one, you put a tracker on it. You gotta have a tracker. And then there's not much more you can do. I mean, you can try and reality anchor it. If that works, you're good. But other than that, it's just, we have to get it back every time it disappears. It's annoying, but teleportation is a broken power for a reason. Cosmic Cat, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some catnip on your way past the commissary. Could 096 catch Turu/Wonder of You from JoJo? The more you pursue him, the more calamities you're hit by, from bomb to hurricane. These calamities could bypass 096's durability due to how they work. I would have to see how calamitous Turu's stand power is. If it's a stand power, I'm only passingly familiar with JoJo. But long story short, 096 is very relentless, and it's extremely hard to take it down. Because it doesn't really have defenses so much as just being super sturdy. We had to, again, to get 173 to kill it, we first had to dump it in acid and then shoot it with a machine gun a whole bunch before 173 could finish the job. So, I mean, it's pretty frickin' durable. I would need to see death battle style, the maximum destructive power of the calamities to know what happens. But honestly, 096 is built different. So unless I see something pretty substantial from the calamities, I think 096 might be able to survive it. Voctor, thank you again. How do I summon an orange? Head to the commissary. We got plenty of them. Ghost Nut Clarity. Please don't fraternize with the supernatural beings. No fraternizing with the anomalies. I don't care if they're spooky. But thank you for your donation. Grab yourself some walnuts on your way past the commissary. Fair warning, Sherman, I've caught word of a new GOI dubbed under the name Black Key Research, or BKR, pronounced Beaker. I figured you should know. I will put out a memo for are departments to be on the lookout. Pagan Dragon, do you guys actually work for your future selves? Well, one could say that all of us work for our future selves, in that we're creating everything we do in order to improve their future, the future of ourselves that they live in. So technically, you could say that about anyone, can't you? Hello, Mr. Nice Live Guy again. Why can't we use... Well, you're gone now because you mentioned it, so I guess I'll still answer this question for whoever's still listening. 682, last time they used a laser to scribe it onto its skin, but I thought as long as you tell someone or something, it'll come and take it away. So, I don't remember that particular test. Let me see the 682 logs to see if what you're talking about actually happened and what the result was. I'll do this in honor of your being gone due to saying the thing none of us are supposed to say. Hard to destroy reptile. Termination log. Control F. No matches. Apparently it hasn't been used. I would assume it's because it's too hard because you have to know about it before you do it, and therefore, before you got the opportunity, you would be gone first. I believe that's why we wouldn't test that. Perps, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some purple drink on your way past the commissary. SCP-096 has escaped. Well, speak of the devil and it'll appear. I guess the hand must have seen it when they stole SCP-420-J and left that picture. And so I'm sure we'll get it back after it messes up the hand for their mistake. Officer Kin, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some beef jerky on your way past the commissary. Hello, it's your favorite Mobile Task Force agent, and I have a question for you again. What would happen if SCP-2006 sees 096 and transforms into him? Great question. So, 096 activates when something sees its face for real. And 2006 seeing it would mean 096 would attack it. But I'm not sure 096 could get to 2006 because it can shapeshift, go incorporeal, it can just be gone. So, I think 2006, would be able to wait out and escape 096. But because 2006 would know that we're all afraid of seeing 096's face, it would then very often use 096's face to scare us and get us all killed. So, do not tell 2006 about 096. Absolutely not. Worst idea in the world. God Sinner, thank you again. I've never partaken in the Mary Jane before. Is 426-J a good intro? P.S. saw you in a commissary. Gave me a cup of Joe. You want it? I do not want a cup of Joe. Thank you for offering. Give that back to Joe so he can go to medical. So 420-J is, it's good. In fact, if you have it for your first time, I would worry that you would never like any other because it's just top shelf. So you definitely, it's also pretty strong. You'll want to start with something lighter and work your way up. That's the best way to do that. Mr. Nice Live Guy again, thank you again. You said the thing again. How did you do that and come back? We might need to test you. That's anomalous AF. Voctor, thank you again. What if the subject had an ability returned by death? Oh, I know ReZero. I know ReZero very well. Good show. User goes back in time when they die to a certain point in time. So, we have a lot of time travel SCPs. I'm certain of it. Let me go back into the tags. Scroll down to the T's. And in the T's, we will seize the Coldest War, the Critic, Thylo, Third Law, Tim Wilson, Time After Time Password, Ticonderoga. No time travel? What's the Temporal? I'm looking for Temporal then. Yep, Temporal. That's a spicy meatball. That's a lot of temporal anomalies. So we have all kinds of temporal anomalies that we have to deal with. But if we were containing such a person, then the situation would be that we would keep them alive because then they can't go back. And the answer there is medically induced coma. We just keep them there, we don't let them go back, and we see what we can do with that. Oop, let me double check this isn't a problem. Okay, not my problem. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Good, good. I'll answer that later. Where was I? So yes, obviously, it would also be very useful if we had researchers with that ability, because then we could fix problems before they happen. And so we would probably try to find a way to replicate that ability. There'd be a lot of testing for that. You're immune to its effects, Mr. Nice Guy. That's hard to believe, although you are saying the thing you're not supposed to say multiple times and not disappearing. Although maybe you just brought your phone with you wherever it went. You're trying to trick us so that more of us show up. Nuka-Cola addict. Thank you for your first donation. Grab yourself a Nuka-Cola on the way past the commissary. Favorite Nuka-Cola, by the way, love your channel. Much appreciated for the compliment. And, oh, how do you pick? Nuka-Cola is such a wide variety of delicious beverages. The Quantum, it's got that tinge to it, that tanginess of radiation. Huge Fallout fan. Very much enjoyed the show. Big fan of 3 and New Vegas and 4. I love them all. I don't like 76, couldn't get into it. But, ooh, good stuff. I have a shrine of Fallout merch, and like the real-life Jones Soda Nuka-Cola Quantum bottles that I got while they were limited edition out. And I went to a convention, I came back with a legit platinum chip that someone made. It's got a nice heft to it. It's good stuff. Lucy, thank you for your $1. No question, but thank you for the donation. Grab yourself some Lipton iced tea on the way past the commissary. Pendragon, thank you again. What's the most comically absurd anomaly you have dealt with? Comically absurd? Okay, I've got just the one. Give me just one moment to scan the database and see if I can find it. SCP Samsara Banana Peel. Will it work? Yes! I did it! SCP-7780, titled Something Wicked This Way Comes, is a probability resonance cascade that took place at Area 25. And this was part of the SCP-7000 contest, which is why I read it. And Mobile Task Force Tau 5, codename Samsara, otherwise known as the Power Rangers, if you're familiar with the nickname, are on site during this event, and they essentially go through an entire Looney Tunes scenario with banana peels and rakes and doors that aren't doors and just the worst comedy happening to them at all times. It was very funny. I enjoyed it. 7780, go give it a read. That's comically absurd to a T. Excellent question. Thank you. Julian, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some julienne fries on the way past the commissary. If you had a Pokemon and could take perfect care of it to help with research, what would it be? My favorite Pokemon of all time, hands down, is Snorlax followed by Munchlax. Just done. Snorlax and Munchlax are my boys. Below that, Gengar and Haunter are on there, and Gardevoir is on there. Those are my top 5 Pokemon. The bottom 3 are interchangeable, doesn't really matter. The top 2, Snorlax and Munchlax, hands down. They are the bestest boys. Dreamscape Traveler, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some cotton candy on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, would anything Lovecraftian be an SCP? Of course. Pardon, dust in the throat. Yes, definitely Lovecraftian entities are anomalous. We did have SCP, which one is Cthulhu? F off. SCP Cthulhu. I never remember how to say that word exactly the way it's pronounced. 2662 is literally a Cthulhu entity that we have in containment voluntarily. And then we have another SCP tale where Cthulhu tries to register an SCP, but we turn him away because he's too cliche. God Sinner. Forgot to put your name, Kara, on there again. Thank you again for donating just to say that. Very nice, Caracal, for you to donate to the Site 42 cause, and I'm glad you like the pen trick. Voctor. Thank you again. I accidentally summoned an orange god. I suggest praying to the juicer god to save you. Leo Star, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some orange juice on your way past the commissary. I think Voctor could use your help. What if Cain or Abel interacted with the Gate Guardian, or is 343 interacted with the Gate Guardian? So none of them will go near the Gate Guardian because they know what it is. So we don't know. There might be tales where they did, but I'm not familiar with them. Lucy, good to see you again. Hey, why can't you just restrain 682 with a big harness hoist? It can't adapt to what doesn't harm it. Also, sorry for the blank message, new to this. Hey, no problem. Thank you for clarifying yourself. And grab yourself some prosciutto on your way past the commissary. Why can't you just restrain 682 with a big harness? So it doesn't just adapt to things that cause it harm in a physical pain sense. It can adapt to anything. So, pardon. And so, it's going to get out one way or another. It has shown strength stronger than most tensile grips. The only time we've been able to harness it for travel is if we're able to knock it out with some very strong tranquilizers, such as in the Australia incident. Oh my, it seems I made it to the end of the donos. I'll head back to the chat. So if SCP-173 is completely made of concrete, how come you guys haven't used acid on it? Well, Komodo Sojo, it's because we don't want to destroy anomalies because we can't test them anymore. Research is a high priority here at the Foundation. In fact, that's why the GOC calls us irresponsible, because they just want to destroy things that are harmful. We want to do science first and foremost. Oh, hello, Pendragon again. Thank you again. How would the Foundation deal with anomalies that makes anyone go in the general vicinity of it insane? So we would have to lock it down and handle it from a distance using drones. We have an SCP that makes people mad like that. SCP, what's it called? I know this one. It's in the 2000s. It's a person who just goes into groups of people and it drives them all insane. Group Madness 3935, definition of madness, series 4, series 222. Let me go into the SCP-2000 listings and I will see if the name sticks out. I know the name will stick out when I see it. The problem is just that I can't think of the name right now. Series 3, because that's the 2000s. Oh god, I forgot there's so many of these. Deus Ex Machina, Space Oddity, Dead Future, Personal Data Assistance of the Gods. Predicting the past, too spooky science fiction, but blood must be sometimes spilled. Thomas Huang, No iPhone. Recomposing Tribesmen, Reddit, Reptilian Mean, Wizard's Doll, Girl with Made-Up Disease, Museum of One. Cliche, right? Single-sided paper. Egg in a jar, Laugh is fun, Ant time, Father time. Ant farm, Father time, Coincidental tree. Two Sods delusion, Instant animals, Fire rabbits, Dust bunnies, Unstable sandies. Remember me, Big wigs, Ambulatory molasses generator. Mendeleev's nightmare, Collaboration, The virtual world, Interdimensional weather station. Past vision of the future, Mayhem dressed in a suit. Sink bait, The way of all flesh. Shooting yourself can increase your bullet resistance. That sounds fake. Trying to find this one person in a list of 1,000. It's kind of difficult to do. Gonna see if I can find this guy by a name that's not really his name. When I see the code name, hopefully it stands out and I don't just walk right by it. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? If I only had a brain, Halsey's hammer, friendly agreement, annihilation. If you see something, say something. Foundation playsets, shared identity, Birdophone, Ozymandias effect. There's always a cost. Cameron the Crusader, Partition E, Dreams Nightmare. Why do we have so many SCPs? I wish things would just be normal for a minute so that I wouldn't have to scroll through this many things. Too Many Grace, People's Pet Store, Goats, Spirit Bomb, Mr. Lie, Cloudivores, Copy, it's fine. An Inside Joke. Problems at Hand. The Bear with a Heart of Patchwork. Love that little guy. Like this great idea. Pen is Mightier. Futures Trading. House That Makes You Stare at Palmer. Baby Lizards have a field trip. Bodies in the Water. Floor Being Shirley. Butcher. Trying to find this one. Dr. Spanko. That's not him. This is frustrating me. It's a guy who's lonely because he's crazy and he walks into groups and drives the whole group insane. They all started fighting each other and there's a tale about him. I know this one, but I don't know what number it is. I'm going to try one more thing because it's annoying me. I'm going to go to the Site 42 Red Division, otherwise known as the SCP database. And then, or the Site 42 YouTube channel database. And I'm going to go through the playlists. And do I have a playlist for Tales? Tale. I don't have a... All right, show that. There's only 133. And I know there's a tale about it. So what do you got for me? Videos that are tales. Divine Invention, 150,000. Remember Us. Mobile Let me start at the bottom. Show me 50 at a time. All right, all the way to the end. From the beginning of the channel, when the audio quality was terrible. Duke Till Dawn, Dragon Challenge accepted, Young Man, Funerals Are Fun, Laughter, SC, that's it. All right, who does this link to? Who does this link to? $12.68. Aw, man. I was in the 2000s and I should have been in the 1000s. Oh, that's me. I'm such a loser. $12.68. Which is titled Mass Hysteria. I knew it was something like that. Okay, so yeah. Standard containment cell and fed regularly. Only monitored by one guard at a time. And do not kill it because we need to research of it, of course. And it is a human male of indeterminate race with brown eyes and black hair. Capable of basic motor functions and self-maintenance. It does not appear to be capable of communication, nor does it show emotion or higher intelligence. It is currently believed to be non-sapient, however, it has demonstrated the ability to use stairs, door handles, and elevators. When left to its own devices, 1268 will wander aimlessly until it is in proximity of a large group of people. In this situation, 1268 will go into the crowd and slowly move through it. During this process, behavior of the group will be altered. Within 2 minutes, no effect. 2 to 7 minutes, people become nervous. 7 to 14 minutes, people experience disorientation and confusion. Some try to leave the crowd, although most will continue whatever they were doing. And at 14 minutes, everyone panics and attempts to leave the area by any means necessary. They will show a distinct lack of concern for the safety of themselves and others. And this will cease when 1268 leaves. And it keeps going into crowds for some reason that we're not exactly sure of. But that is, so yes, we have dealt with mass insanity, and we keep it in a box like anything else. Woo! Quite an adventure, but we found it. Good job, team. Where was I? Let me catch up. Leo Star. 682 meaning 1682? Well, I don't know what 1682 is off the top of my head. Although it might be related because people love to number things similarly like that. Solar Parasite. Large segmented worm-like entity located next to the sun. All right, well, I can answer this easily because we already launched 682 into the sun. And it came back after it grew solar sails. So we won't be able to trap it there anyways. Therefore, that's just what we have to deal with. We can't put them together, so I assume 682 can survive it. Name not included. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some no-name cake on your way past the commissary. As we all know, 999 is your metaphorical child, but if you had to choose some SCPs to play with them, who would you pick? A lot of people claim 999 is my kid. I'm not going to dissuade you. It's fun. It's a good joke, and only a joke, of course. Wink. But if I were going to hang out with any SCP, I would hang out with Jeff. SCP-008-J. He seems like a chill dude. I mean, not necessarily play with them. I mean, I'd play some games with Jeff. I think Jeff would have a good time. We'd play some PlayStation. It'd be a good time. Hello, Mr. Nice Live Guy. Good to see you again. Theory. SCP-049 believes the pestilence is moral corruption, greed, apathy, pride. He views it as contagious and fatal to the soul, justifying his cures as merciful executions to prevent spiritual collapse. I mean, that's a nice thought, but I tell you what. Oh, you haven't met a Foundation researcher who isn't prideful. You have to be pretty cocky to get a job here. So, no, it can't be that, because, I mean, he hasn't killed a lot of us. Especially despite the fact that I've bothered it so many times, and it still hasn't ended me claiming I have pestilence. So, that's a good thought, though. Pendragon, thank you again. Would the Foundation recruit the Scooby-Doo Mystery Gang? Not if they were just undoing the normal level anomalies that are actually just people in costumes. Then we wouldn't mess with them. But in the recent years, the Scooby Gang has had a knack of falling upon actual anomalies, and therefore we've been monitoring them. I don't think we need to recruit them so much as we need to just follow them to wherever they go, and if they encounter something actually anomalous, they're just like a bellwether for us to go contain something. And, you know, usually they handle it on their own first, and so we just make sure to be backup. Otherwise, they're working fine as they are. I am Site 16. I am at Site 2 right now. I am a Mobile Task Force member. Well, Killer Bricks, thank you for donating. Grab yourself some Kix cereal on your way past the commissary, and good luck with your MTF work. Lord Kazurix, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some Korean barbecue on your way past the commissary. Has there been a cross-testing with 682 and 242? 242, that would be... First, let me check on what 242 is. The self-cleaning pool, transmuted into sterile water, which remains sterile even after being removed. Portable container, so it just turns things into water. So if you jump in the water, it will, make you into water. Water that makes you water. And have we tried 682 plus the water that makes you water? Pool. 242. No matches. Doesn't look like we've cross-tested that. But I'd be interested in seeing what happened. So, hey, maybe give that a test the next time you're over at the 682 site. Knob the Bongo God. Thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some coconuts on your way past the commissary, since you seem to be a bongo king. Can we use 999 to help pacify 682, or have we tried that and got a containment breach, or maybe try 999 on 513 affected subjects? So for 999 682, we did do that, and although 999 subdued it for a minute, 682 stored up the tickle energy and then released it in a tickle shockwave that disabilitated all of the nearby Foundation staff, and then it breached containment and caused a problem. So that was not a good idea. 513, what is 513? 513 is, yes, the cowbell. I got a fever. The only prescription is more cowbell. So I believe that while we could use 513 to help their anxieties, they would still be assaulted by 513-1, and that would not be good for them. So it's not going to save them or anything. Voctor, thank you again. How would the Foundation deal with the 7 deadly sins, witches and archbishops from ReZero? So, that is anomalous religions, as well as, I mean, that's all sorts of stuff. Essentially, you're dealing with an SCP scenario there, where someone from our universe would have to be isekai'd, essentially, into the ReZero universe. If we opened a dimensional portal, we'd be sending people in there to test things out, see if there's anything that we can bring out useful. But that's a whole world of anomalies that we're just not equipped to function in a world like that. Our goal is to hide the anomalous, and if the anomalous is public knowledge, then we're kind of useless there. Dreamscape Traveler, thank you again. Would anything from Fallout be an SCP? Well, any irradiated creature that can't exist in reality would end up being anomalous, so Deathclaws definitely. Because yes, they're irradiated, but if you irradiate animals in our world, that doesn't happen to them. So there's something there that's making them anomalously irradiatable. On top of that, they're aliens. Those would definitely be SCPs. Other Fallout scenarios, that would be SCPs. I believe the Dunwich buildings. The Dunwich areas have anomalies going on in there, if I remember right. It's not just spooky. There's actually is things that are anomalous there. I know in Fallout 4, there's in the Nuka world DLC, there's a haunted house that actually has a ghost. And so that would be an anomaly. It's like a fun house, but also there's a ghost there. Derek May, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some cheesy puffs on your way past the commissary. What happens if you infect 682 with all SCP viruses at once? Or take the virus and put it in the machine that makes things better, the ultrafine setting. So 682 adapts to the diseases. We've already tested things like that. No big win there. And then putting the diseases in 914. Honestly, the funny thing is 914, if I remember correct, actually doesn't work with organic material. And a lot of people forget that. Except that sometimes it then works. Control F, organic. No matches. Okay, so the original document does say we put in a mouse and got a mouse. We put in a chimp and got data expunged. So I guess, yes, it can use organic matter. I wonder why it said you couldn't somewhere. And of course, there's a testing log. And you asked specifically about viruses. I hate searching this thing. There's so many pages. Let me start with part 1. Open all the logs and see if there's a virus. Okay, virus. That's a source code of a virus. Organic materials have been intentionally omitted from this test in case 914 decides to translate that into an actual biological virus. So we wouldn't test that because we're not testing it with viruses, apparently. At least in the early days. I'll try page 2 just in case, but after that, I'm not going to go through 20 pages of these. There's just way too many. People need to... I think we've tested 914 enough, guys. Control F, virus. No matches. Back tier, no matches. So yeah, it seems like that's not something we would try in the first place. AACIE, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself an icy on your way past the commissary. Question, how's it like in your dimension? Also, Scarlet says hi. Hello, Scarlet. And our dimension's fine right now. It's a little warm. Temperatures have been going up as spring has sprung, and so we're dealing with that the best way we can. Trying to stay cool. Unfortunately, the overseers have hit Site 42 with a 25% budget reduction this year. Very frustrating. I'm kind of in a bad mood about it because you can't exactly let personnel go from the Foundation due to financial reasons. It's even more expensive to fire them and replace them in society and anesthetize them. It's a whole hassle. So I can't just fire people like normal businesses do. So we've got to find a way to cut the budget, and the AC is one of those ways, unfortunately. So you'll see I'm just wearing a t-shirt rather than a button-up today. Less layers, the better. Other than that, things I guess are okay. By the way, thank you for all of your donations for helping the budget, because we need it right now. Frickin' 05. Goodmodius, thank you for your donation to the Site 42 coffers. Make sure to grab yourself a delicious strudel on your way past the commissary. Why does it seem I'm the only one stupidly fascinated with the broken mask scenario? So first of all, we don't want a broken masquerade because then everyone knows about the anomalous and they can't live in the light anymore. They'll have to live in the dark with us. So we want people to live their normal, happy lives. Let's not break that masquerade willy-nilly. That being said, I guess if you're fascinated with it, you can look into the documentation we have from universes where the masquerade was broken. And of course, if you can find like-minded people to talk about it with, you'll solve your problem right there. Killer Bricks again, thank you. We need to back up at Site 2. Mobile Task Force died, 10 breaches. The site security is heading your way, I already told you. You're going to be fine. People get lost once in a while. Leo Star, thank you again. Does 343 survive daybreak? Because it can vanish and move at will, I'm assuming that if daybreak happened, and since it's starting in a containment site, it would easily be able to stay inside, get away from any anomalies that will try to bring it outside. I believe that it can probably make its own food. I know it went out for a hamburger to troll us, but it can probably make its own food, and that means that it will not have any problem surviving. So I believe the big question I'm sure you have is, will it survive skin contact with the sun? I have a feeling 343 is more powerful than Daybreak. That's just my guess. Maybe Mr. Illustrated series on the Daybreak will address that at some point. Metallics the Metal Sonic, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some chili dogs on the way past the commissary. With the Foundation, see Dr. Robotnik and the Eggman Empire as a group of interest, especially with the whole situation with Chaos and Dark Gaia. Definitely yes. Eggman's Empire is definitely a group of interest, with Dr. Robotnik being the top of the pyramid, the same way that Dr. Wondertainment is a company, with Dr. Wondertainment as the top CEO. So definitely yes. Birdie, thank you again. Deathclaws were a genetic test. They could be created. However, there are ghosts, aliens, the Mothman, and the Flatwoods Monster. I forgot about the Mothman and the Flatwoods. That's probably because I don't play 76. But again, Deathclaws, while they were a genetic test in universe, nothing like that happened in the real world as we know it. So at least in the Fallout verse, unless there's something specifically listing it as normal, even as a genetic test, I'm going to call it an anomaly until we can duplicate it with specifically non-anomalous means. How would the Pendragon, thank you again, how would the Foundation deal with Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream? Are you kidding? We probably would make Am by accident and blow up the world. That sounds like something we'd be a part of doing, honestly. But we do contain a lot of sentient AI, many of which hate us, so we should look into the Artificial Intelligence Department to see what we would do in that scenario. Colonel Gagny, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a cruller on your way past the commissary. 6426 versus 4217. Vampire Tug versus the Bismarck. SCP for 6426. And SCP 4217. So the Bismarck versus the Vampire Boat. Tamed Chamber, Ambulatory Hostile Sapient Harbor Tugboat. Structure degradation, rusting. Blood or blood-filled organs will be absorbed into the metal. Limit testing shown blood of humans, cetaceans, and certain species of salations. Redistribute blood. Ocular organs of flexible eye stalks. Tendrils. -A. The -A's are creatures that are bitten by the boat. Okay. 17 boats move to borders of the Gunrock District, fleeing in panic as the vampire boat kills people. Golems and law enforcement defend fleeing civilians. Destroys a golem. Breach a barricade. Detach portions of 6426. Call out the water body. Wheelhouse. Bridges. Hardtacks. UIU agents. Oh, the UIU. Poor them. The Gruel punches it once before throwing it onto shore and repeatedly beating it. Unable to defend itself, and performs motions, including extreme pain. Okay, so 6426 was defeated by the UIU. Oh, it talks. I'm sorry. It only fought us because we were the Broken Church. Broken Church. And a shark puncher? The vampire boat is a shark puncher? This is insanity. Okay, so that's its capabilities. Meanwhile, the Bismarck is much bigger. It looks like it's got a full gunner system. Can we do just based on size and armaments, I'm going to say that the Bismarck wins. Because it's not like, I mean, the vampire boat is special, but it's not that special compared to a warship. That's my first instinct to read here. Derek, thank you again. Has it been tested where a bunch of Keter SCPs fight 682 at once? Also through 682 and 354, you won't escape. So we're not going to have the mass chaos of a 5-on-1 Keter fight. Not going to happen. Too many casualties will occur. Meanwhile, 354. Red Pool. I have a bad feeling that it would absorb the abilities of the Red Pool and allow itself to spawn its own entities, which would be very frustrating, so no. Name not included, thank you again. How the Foundation contain the Flame of Frenzy from the game Elden Ring or the Abyss from Dark Souls? So I'm only moderately aware of Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I played a little Elden Ring, but it was too big and I didn't have a lot of free time at the time. I'm a Bloodborne stan mainly. And so when it comes to the Flame of Frenzy and the Abyss, I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they're also part of weird anomalous worlds that keep things upkept. So we'd probably find a way to wreck that in a way that would ruin things for everyone else. Normally, that's how the Foundation goes in world-changing anomalies like that. But, good question. Dreamscape Traveler, thank you again. Has the Foundation ever encountered anything akin to Voldemort's Horcruxes? Also, your pup says hi. Hello, pup. Horcruxes. Let's see if SCPs has ever dealt with Horcruxes. I mean, Google SCP Horcrux. That's not a Horcrux. That's not a Horcrux. I don't think we've dealt with anything like that I can think of. Although, you just know that we'd put it in a box pretty easily. And we'd run tests on the person who was linked to it. How would the Foundation deal with the Viltrumites? Thanks again, Voctor. Viltrumites, honestly, look at how Cecil is doing it in the show. Invincible's a good show. And Cecil Stedman is premier SCP Foundation representation. You'd say he's with the UIU because he works for the federal government and out of the Pentagon, but he's way more pragmatic and Foundation coded and willing to do bad things for good reasons than the UIU is. And so I would say that he's more on the Foundation side of things. But that being said, yes, especially spoiler for the finale of this season, the Foundation would definitely do that. We would definitely keep that the way he kept it to get information. Is it a bad idea? Probably. But would we do it? Definitely. One more. Thank you again, Derek. Did the Foundation buy Prometheus Lab, or did Anderson Robotics buy them? MCD might get them too. Prometheus Labs. Let me check their hub. Last I knew, they were independent. I don't know that they got bought up by anybody. What is Prometheus Labs exactly? That's a lot of articles, products, documentation, format, Research and Development Corporation, independent research performed by world-class scientists. Products such as the mental web and teleportation were developed by researchers working on their vacation days. For this reason, Prometheus Labs independent funding, independent research. Okay, so I would assume that they would not allow themselves to be bought. They seem very into being independent. So that's my guess there. Cinderblock, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself... What do Cinderblocks eat? I guess some gravelly water on your way past the commissary. If I was an SCP, what class would I be? Cinderblocks, even if they talk, don't really move on their own, you'd be safe. Put it in a box. The Council Head, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Peanut has escaped. They'll handle it. Their security is well versed with getting that peanut back in a box. You've been putting on a little weight. Are you okay? Thanks, bud. I injured my foot back in October in a containment breach, and I wrecked my Achilles tendon, which is an injury that takes 3 to 6 months to a year to heal. And so, typically I go to the gym every day, Foundation Fitness Initiative, and I have been laid up. And as you know, my day job is teaching ballroom dancing. So for 3 months, I wasn't even able to work at all, which was hard on the Site 42 budget. But I've been able to at least go to work and teach while seated, but I still can't walk more than 3 minutes a day. So yeah, I'm putting a little on. I'll get it off once I have my foot back. Ugh. If you read this, Sherman, I will purchase an SCP lab coat and wear it to an IKEA. I am willing to send photograph evidence through a business email if so. Well, it sounds like you're on your way, but I warn you of a couple things. Number one, yes, we do have a business email. It's where we receive business emails, so please don't spam it with things that aren't business. But two, be careful wearing an SCP lab coat to IKEA. IKEA is very aware of SCP-3008, and they don't like it. It turns out they do not like being publicly associated with a horror franchise and having people die in their stores. So, they actually sued an SCP-3008 game that was in development into oblivion. The game isn't happening because they were sued so hard by IKEA's legal team. So, be careful if you go to SCP or IKEA in an SCP getup, because they know who we are and they're not friendly. Sorry to hear about your foot. Thank you, Brandon. Yes, it has been stressful the last year. It hasn't been a good year, but we'll get back eventually. It's just patience. I've got multiple doctor visits, physical therapy, all that kind of stuff. Medical's taking care of me the best they can. Even the Foundation's medical system, it's still America. It's still not great. But we're doing what we can. Sneaky sketchbook. Your name is on a bunch of articles, Sherman. Good work. Haha. Yes. My man. I started writing, I didn't even create Dr. Sherman on the wiki. Dr. Sherman was created when prolific SCP author DJ Cactus did a rewrite of SCP-049 because it was always a joke that the 049 article was rather poorly written and people wanted to see it improve since it was so popular. And they did a good job. And one of the things that Cactus did is he took me and a couple other voice actors on. You know, he got Volgan to voice 049 as he always does. But he brought me in to, pardon me, be a researcher. And he named the researcher Dr. Theron Sherman because my wiki username is the Sherm. And so the Theron Sherman. And so that was just a funny little thing that I picked up and used as my author name for my researcher name after that, especially when I got on TikTok. Achilles tendon rupture is one of the hardest soft tissue injuries to come back from. Definitely not a walk-it-off injury. Boy, don't I know it. I walk around for 3 minutes and my foot swells up and that tendon starts pulling and ooh, it's not pleasant. I used to go for walks every day, even though I went to the gym every day. I got injured because I was taking bar classes because I was doing a lot of toe raises to try and improve my cardio because my strength was really good, but I wanted to work on my endurance. And just daily gym, plus going for walks all the time, plus teaching dance professionally, plus bar was too much. Amber Chaos, you've been working hard for the donos tonight. You know it. We are in a budget crisis, as I said here at Site 42, 25% budget crisis. So every little bit helps, and I just happen to have the free time today to hang out with you guys a little longer than usual. Actually, I am starting to run out of time, though. I've been at this for 1:40. I think in about 20 minutes, we'll be ending up this stream so I can get back to the testing in the audio lab. Derek May, 3008 versus the Backrooms. So, liminal spaces of all types have different scenarios. Now, of course, when you're talking about the Backrooms, are you talking about the original Backrooms, which is just one picture? Are you talking about Cain Pixels, the Backrooms, which has its own adjustment of the lore? Or are you talking about the wiki.wiki of the Backrooms, which is a much more SCP-adjacent form of the Backrooms? Now, obviously, they're both interdimensional spaces. I don't assume they have the logic in them to fight. But I see the Backrooms as more versatile because 3008 is just big IKEA. So it's got the employees and it's got the people who are trapped in there and it's got those tasty, tasty meatballs. But I just think there's more of the Backrooms. I mean, I'm saying more of as if there's not two infinite things. I mean, if you go by the original Backrooms and there aren't any entities, then 3008 would win because it has entities. But if you're bringing the entities of the Backrooms into it, then if they somehow have gained cognition and tried to fight, I would assume the Backrooms would win. Do you think the SCP Foundation and the Global Occult Coalition will ever stop fighting and pool resources? In some canons, we have. There's that one SCP that's like Pacific Rim. I already forgot what it was, even though I talked about it a couple weeks ago. But it's the GOC, SCP, and another group that ended up making a Jaeger so we could fight Kaiju. SCP Pacific Rim. SCP-5514. There we go. So 5514 is when we teamed up with the GOC just one time, and there's a bunch of other times as well. Oh, let me get these donos real quick. Mr. P, thank you for your first donation to the stream today. Make sure to grab yourself some Periwinkle soda on your way past the commissary. Do you think the Foundation has thought of using 2018 on 049? 2018? What is that? Museum of View. Space-time anomaly. Rectangular space in a wall, 1 hour, 7 seconds, 72 hours. Australian Museum alternate version. Further properties manifest when the living human subject enters it. Object and living beings will appear on top of empty pedestals, along with a metal plate containing text. Terminally related significant memories. Faster structures will wear down. I mean, it doesn't seem like it would have a very strong effect on 682. And also, we don't want to let loose in the Australian Museum either. Oh, you said 049, not 682, sorry. Actually, that's a much stronger test proposal, now that I'm not making a mistake there, sorry. You know, that could be an interesting test, although 049 is currently working with a mobile task force in exchange for use of the gender switching stone, SCP-113. So we'll have to wait till it's back from deployment to try that out. Derek, thank you again. I'll give you one more. Who is the most insufferable doctor? Cleffer Gears. Gears doesn't like what people seems. He likes 914. So just a quick, in case you didn't know, here at Site 42, we stopped talking about Dr. Bright a long time ago. And it's because of an art separating from the artist thing. Dr. Bright's author made a lot of trouble on the SCP Wiki, was what one would classify as a sex pest, really just overly horny in places shouldn't be, seemingly took advantage of people using their fame as an SCP author, which is weird flex, but okay. But it's one of those things where because they used the character as their calling card to get people to do stuff, whatever, we're trying not to publicize Dr. Bright anymore. So I only mention it once a stream when I'm telling people, hey, we don't talk about that very much. But that being said, I think Kondraki is the most insufferable. I mean, Duke Till Dawn alone. Jeez. Silent Follower, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some latkes on your way past the commissary, even if you didn't ask a question. I have a question. Well, Jack, sir, if I've seen that you have a question, but now I won't see your question. So you gotta ask your question. Otherwise, I might not see it the second time. Ansen, do you know why the tree doesn't scream? I don't know why. It annoys me. And then, what happened to the black lab coat? The black lab coat is hanging on the wall over there. The thing is, I have noticed that when I hang out in the audio lab where it's dark, it makes problems with the lighting and the complexion of the camera. So when I'm in the dark room, I use the white coat again. That way, things look good. Just being cognizant so it's an enjoyable stream for you guys. You voiced Iceberg in a Duke Till Dawn audio adaptation, right? You got it, Anomaly Source. That was from the team at Find Us Alive. They did a Duke Till Dawn adaptation. They had me voice Iceberg in that. Good ear. Dark Red, how often do you do live streams? I do live streams whenever I have a free 30 minutes to 2 hours in my schedule, which isn't very often. Now, recently I've been able to get on about once or twice a week. You really got to keep the bell on because, for instance, right now I have a short break between tests, but then I have to get back to work. So I started streaming at 4 o'clock my time? And then you're looking at a scenario where if I'm at my day job, keeping up the facade that I'm just a normal civilian, then I'm teaching dance, and my private lessons, when they cancel, that's when I stream. And so it's very sporadic. You got to hit the bell to make sure you get notified. Although I can tell you, little sneak preview, this weekend, I have 2 cancellations, Friday and Saturday, both at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you should be aware that about 5 p.m. Friday, Saturday, I might be going live. Keep an eye on your YouTube for that. Normally, I don't know ahead of time, so it's nice when I can give you guys a little hint of things to come. Cool Gamer 124. Can I shag SCP-173? Not only would I prefer you didn't, because we don't fraternize with the anomalies here at the Foundation. It's just bad protocol. Also, you don't want to make Dr. Clef jealous. And Dr. Clef and 173 have a standing date night that we don't interfere with. You can read it. I'm not joking. It's called Date Night. It's on the SCP Wiki. You can even listen to it here on the Site-42 Red Division. Date Night is between Dr. Clef and 173. It's a whole thing. Chase Jennings. Dr. Sherman, Spider Moon is back. Ready the nukes. Blow up the Spider Moon. Some anomalies, we say we don't destroy anomalies. Some deserve it. Zerdrin. Oh boy, here I go avoiding capture again. You're really going to need to keep your plan a better secret if you want to contain me. By the way, I left some pie for you. Thanks for the food. We'll get you, Zerdrin! What are my favorite SCPs? I'll be telling you at the end of the stream, which is in about 13 minutes. I always save my favorites for the end, although, if you've seen the end of previous streams, you know what my favorites are. Your local MD memer. Making an SCP Mobile Task Force Red Hand cosplay, what should I know? So, what you really want to do is you want to look at the team on TikTok, I'm saying headed, it's just the person I know best, who is Callsign Scout. Callsign Scout has a group of SCP Mobile Task Force cosplayers. I met them at MetroCon Tampa last summer. It was awesome. We filmed some videos. It was a good time. Got some really good pictures. My Twitter banner is a picture from meeting them that's really good. So you can ask them about tack gear questions. I can tell you ahead of time that if you go to Toad King Studios on Etsy, he is the premier SCP patch guy when it comes to SCP patches and different logos and things. So check out Toad King Studios. He's also the creator behind Foundation After Midnight Radio, which is Night Vale for the Foundation. It's great. I wish he'd make more episodes. I say knowing that he asked me to help him write an episode, so that's going to be fun work when we finally get to it. Sana, thank you for your donation. Make sure to grab yourself some Shasta on your way past the commissary. Question, which anomaly would you least like to be caught in a compromising position with? This does not have to be that type of situation. Well, first of all, it will never be that kind of situation because we do not fraternize with the anomalies. On top of which, I am just annoyed and asexual that you would suggest such a thing. But, I mean, there are so many anomalies that are bad to be anywhere near. Not even saying one of the ones that are common. Like, obviously, I don't want to be anywhere near 682 or 049 if I don't have to because they're murderous jerks. The disease book is not good. I mean, there's just so many. How do you answer that? There's so many things that are going to mess you up. Pendragon, how good is the Foundation's retirement plan? Actually, it's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. You get there are several tiers depending on how long you worked, how good you served, and you get amnesticized and released to the public. We find a way to make it seem like you should be there and everything works out. Silent Follower, thank you for the multiple donations after your first one. Cheers. VW Austerlitz, thank you for your donation without question. Thank you kindly. Make sure to grab yourself some schnitzel on your way past the commissary. If SCP-049 thought someone had the pestilence, and you gave said person an SCP-500 pill, would SCP-049 still think they have the pestilence or not? I want to check if we've talked about it. SCP-500 pestilence. My first thought is SCP-500 cures everything. Therefore, I believe it would work. It doesn't seem like we have any documentation of it. People speak, I'm looking at Reddit now because that's where people are talking about this, and people are so certain. The pestilence is almost certainly mortal folly. That, it's almost certainly, are you sure? Is that just your guess and you're very confident? Aurora's laboratory. Dear Dr. Sherman, since 682 has telepathic abilities, if we showed SCP-682-096's face, could it telepathically put the image in our heads? Yes. Yes, it could. The same way it transferred 999's tickle energy. So we'd all get super messed up. Austerlitz. This time you get a question. What is your favorite mobile task force unit? Vice versa, what is your least favorite? Don't worry, this is off the records. So, I believe, it's one of mine, so I just, it's a little rude to say one of mine, but I'm gonna. Kappa, I think it's Kappa 7, the Haughty Librarians from SCP-3086. They go to libraries checking out library-based anomalies. And 3086 often pops up in libraries due to its anomalous effect. And I think Haughty Librarians is a funny pun in multiple ways. Kappa 5. Least favorite, I don't know that I have one. They're all good in their separate ways for separate tasks. So I don't really... do you have a least favorite hammer or tool, I guess? They're all useful in their own ways. What's your feelings about Mallow? A, I really wish that people would stop downloading the app on their phone, especially Foundation researchers who know better. And second, oh, my lord, what the Gooners have done to the, it's so much. You can't search Mallow on Google at all. It's a mess. It's such a mess. You never know what the internet is going to latch on to. Except furries. You know they're going to latch on to that. Oh, boy. Question, would Peanut kill a blind person? 99% yes. There's the off chance that in the particular universe, in the particular 173, it might not think a blind person is playing fair, and so it might leave them alone. But most of the time, I believe 173 is going to snap that neck. What happens if 173 gets stuck in a hole? It constantly excretes this blood-feces combination fluid, and so that would eventually fill up in a pile enough that they would get, it would be able to get out. Jacob, thank you for your first dono to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a filet mignon on your way past the commissary. Have you seen the audiobook fanfic for transmigration into the SCP world? Have you seen the audiobook fanfic for a transmigration into the SCP world? No, Jacob, I am not familiar with this. This is news to me. SCP audio transmigration Do I want to look this up on a work computer? Huh. I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm afraid to ask. Are there any good places to get cosplay for SCP? Dark Red, thank you. I don't know if you donated this stream. There's been so many names I'm starting to forget. Sorry. But in case you haven't, make sure to grab yourself from the commissary some delicious Twizzlers. So cosplay for SCP is difficult because we're not a big enough fandom that, I mean, like Spirit Halloween isn't doing ripoffs of us or anything. But if you go to a legitimate lab coat supplier, just a medical resource company, lab coats are pretty cheap. You can get a good lab coat for like 20, 30 bucks most of the time. At least that's the price when I went and got this. And it's good quality. It's a real lab coat. And then you just get the patch from someone like Toad King Studios on Etsy, and you just iron that on. And if you want to go even fancier, some online medical supply shops will do embroidery. My black lab coat has Dr. Theron Sherman, Site Director, Site 42 on it. And so you can get lab coats and embroidery done and get your patches and customize it pretty quickly. I'm very interested in seeing, I mean, there's a lot of TAC Gear Mobile Task Force. That's a very common cosplay in general. I'm interested in seeing more for the groups of interest. Like, I want to see some Dr. Wondertainment or some Serpent's Hand business. I think it's fun to spread the wealth and not just do the foundation itself. But you got to be, kind of creative because there's so little out there for us. But I have faith. Pick a character, pick a faction, and make it happen. Doo-doo. Piper, thank you for your donation, although there's no question. I wonder if that was a mistake. But grab yourself some piping hot pizza on your way past the commissary. It's fitting for Mallow because the original image was of a man's zombie werewolf persona. You know what, Mitch DeKitt? I'm not surprised by that. I guess that's fair. So, and make sure to grab yourself some minestrone on your way past the commissary. Jacob again. I don't know if you accept links, but let me know where to send the link. Our business email is scpsite42@gmail. And so, while worrying, I'll keep a lookout for this link and be afraid. Silent Follower, thank you again for donating. Even though you're silent, your love comes through very strongly, much appreciated. And that is the end of stream today, people. The audio lab is ready for our next test with the unnameable anomaly. Mega Sizor Man, thank you for your donation, your first donation ever. Much appreciated. Make sure to grab yourself a skewer on your way past the commissary, a meat skewer or a veggie skewer, depending on your wants. Gotcha. So, I'm going to put that there. So for anybody who had the question as we end our stream today, my favorite SCPs, of course, my favorite SCPs, I'm not going to say mine. That's rude. And so if you want to see the SCPs I have written, you can go to the Sherm's author page on the SCP Wiki. It is linked in the description of all my videos, as well as the my Twitter bios and all that. But if you go to my author page, you can read all the SCPs I've written or contributed to in any way. I hope you enjoy that. On your way past, if you want to become a patron and help us out, that helps not only me, but our editors, Charles and Synth. I pay them from the Patreon, so it's very helpful if you can help me out with that and help them out. Silent Follower, thank you again and again. Much appreciated. But my favorite SCPs that aren't written by me, because that is the fair rule, are as follows. 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky J, 5175, 5031, and 5320. 7 top SCPs. I'll say them one more time. 5999. No, not 5999. That's one of mine. 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, and 5320. Those are my top favorite SCP listings. Oh, and I've kind of added 8980 to the list actually recently, which is why I forgot it. But that one's really traumatizing. That is very messed up. If you read 8980, listen to the content warnings. It is a hot mess. It is big oofs involved. Ouch. And so with that, those are my favorite SCPs. Please become a patron to help Site42 if you can. Otherwise, thank you for your donation so much today. And thank you for watching. It's great to hang out with you guys for more than the 30 minutes I get in the day job. Lab hangouts can be a little bit longer. Remember, 5 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, California time, and I might see you again, unless something comes up. But more than likely, I'll be there. So wonderful. And I will see you guys in the next video or stream. Make sure you secure, contain, protect. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. While she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her when she smiles. Bow, bow, bow. How many days in a year? She woke up with hope, but she only found tears, and I can be so insincere. Making a promise is never for real, as long as she stands there waiting, wearing the holes in the soles of her shoes. How many days disappear? When you look in the mirror and say, how do you choose? Your clothes never wear as well the next day, and your hair never falls in quite the same way. You never seem to run out of things to say. This is the story of a girl who cried a river and drowned the whole world. And while she looks so sad in photographs, I absolutely love her when she smiles. When she smiles.